All right. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, student. So today we have the third meeting for the subject. So we will try to um, discuss about the state, about the form of the state, and also about the system of government. In the past or in the previous materials that um, given by Pa Awang. If you still remember about that, we tried to analyze or we tried to discuss about what is the government science and then why we should know about the government science. And now we try to be more specific in the element of the government science itself, which are the state system of government and also the form of the government. And today I will have two slides for you guys. So the first slide will be here. I hope you, oh sorry. Okay, this one, I hope you uh, understand about this explanation letter. So now we try to define or we try to explain, we try to describe the state itself. So in state there are several elements that we should know. The first, state characteristic, and then elements of the state, purpose and function of the state, and then state forms of government, and also the government system. Actually, what I want to explain is in general, and then in the second slide I try to be more specific in Indonesia case, in our country case. So after you know the general explanation about the state, about the form, and about the system in the government, so we try to analyze in Indonesia case. So first, this is the definition about the state. Actually, like Max Weber, Roger, and then Harold, it, I think they have different perception about the state, but actually is a same. I mean, like we can try to read in your slide now. The state is a society that has a monopoly in the legitimate use of physical violence in a region. That's based on the Max Weber. And then the second, the state is the agent of authority that governs or controls common problems on behalf of the community. So, because in Max Weber, if you know that they or he tried to define the state as a monopoly in the legitimate. I mean, like the state is control everything, monopolize everything. But Roger said that the state is that there is agent or authority that govern or controls common problems on behalf of the community. So I mean, like the state have to control or can give the problem solving on community's problem. And then third one is that the state is an association which organize order in a society within an area based on a legal system organized by a government which for that purpose is given the power of force. So it means that the state is by the organizer. I mean, like similar with Roger, agent that organize order in a society with an area based on a legal system. And what about the characteristic of the state itself? So the first, the character is compel. Compel means that the state have to for the legislation to be followed. I mean, like we have the rule. We have many rules in Indonesia, so it should be followed. And then second one, the characteristic of the state is monopoly. It means the setting common goals of the community. And then the third one covers all. I mean, like uh, all laws apply to everyone without expectation. All laws apply to everyone without exception. I mean, like the regulation should obey for all people, no matter he or she. And then element of the state, there are many elements of the state. There are 5 elements of state. And here, if you still remember in high school or maybe in elementary school, that if one country or the territory wants to be a state, they must um, they must have territory, population, government, sovereignty, and also recognition from other states. I think this is the general elements or general situation that many people know. Yeah, the state called a state if they have territory, if they have population, if they have government, if they have sovereignty, and then if they have the recognition from other states. And what is the purpose and function of state? The first, the purpose of the state is the country function is the first, of course, implement a control, and then second, seek the welfare and prosperity of its people. The third one is for the defense, and then the last one is upholding justice. And as the general function, the state must be function as security, international order, justice, general welfare, and also the freedom. And here, the form of the state. So we know that there are 2 forms of state. The first is unitary state and also the federal state. For example, for the unitary state, we can call it Indonesia as unitary state, and then federal state maybe for the example is in uh, US or United States America. And also in federal state there is pseudo federalism. It means that the characteristic of pseudo federalism is the first, the existence of autonomy or decentralization. The second is spatial region. The third one is the bicameral system or political parties and regional representative. So um, it means that every state in federal state, they have not all but mostly they have pseudo federalism. So here it is, the government form. As Plato proposed 5 forms of the state government, these 5 forms, according to Plato, must conform to certain human characteristics. So the 5 forms are, the first is aristocracy. It means that the form of government that is preoccupied by scholars conducted in accordance with the thought of justice. Second is democracy, the form of government held by people who want to achieve fame and honor. The third one is oligarchy, the form of government held by the class of journalists. The fourth one, democracy, the form of government held by the commoners. And then the last one, tyranny, the form of government held by tyrannical or arbitrary, so far from the ideas of justice. So that's the form of government. In your opinion, in our country, in Indonesia, which the form are we? Is it oligarchy or is it democracy? We can discuss it later. And the form the form of government that is used now is so basically because the Plato is a long time ago, and then now we can know the form of government that used in a state mostly is monarchy and also republic. And then the government system. So the government system, there are two systems. The first is parliamentary and also presidential. That's the issue of presidential system in Indonesia. I mean, or that's the problem of presidential system in Indonesia. As you know that Indonesia use the presidential system. And then what is the issue or what is the problem that appears in Indonesia? First, it's about the error party system selection. Second, intervention of political parties, especially coalition parties. And then the third one is the Zaken cabinet or professional cabinet cannot be formed. I mean, like this is the problems that appears in Indonesia. Even we use the presidential system, but many problems appears like the selection of this party system, and then we still have the intervention of political parties. If as you know that in Germany there are the um, what is that? There are there there is a separation between political and also the bureaucracy. So if the political parties cannot uh, interfere the bureaucracy because there is only they have only have the coordination line. But in Indonesia, the political parties can directly interfere the government or the bureaucracy. And then why Zakan cabinet or professional cabinet cannot be formed? We can see in the second slide. So here in detail, the system, state system, and also the form of government. So here, if you want to define what is the state defined, we can see 4 points of view here, which are the first thing. If you remember about the slide or the PPT one, there are many scholars try to define the state, right? But here we try to define a country or state from 4 points. The first, state as an organization of power. It means that people must behave according to the state rules because state have the rules, state have the regulation. So people have to act or have to behave according the state rules as the uh, consideration. And then second, the state as political organization or the state, it means that integration of political power. The third one, the state is a decency organization. It means that the state have to maintain public order or have to maintain the public necessary society needed. I mean, like people now need the job, or people now need the welfare. So the state have to try to be this decency organization to maintain the public order. The fourth, the state is an integration between the government and the people. It means that individuals are an integral part of the state, which has the position and function of running the state. I mean, like, it means that the state not only government, the state not only people. So there are government to govern the state and people to try to demand public order. So here there are integral part of the state position and also the people position. And then next one, yeah, the form of the state. So in the first slide or first PPT, I already explained about the form of the state, and then we try to understand that the form of the state there are two. As now we know, monarchy and also unitary. But in Plato, we try to have five form of state. If you still remember, oligarchy, democracy, tyranny, and so forth. So here we try to analyze, or we try to discuss in Indonesia's case. Here, Indonesia said that we have the form of unitary state, right? Republik Indonesia, NKRI, Negara Kesatuan Republik Indonesia, Unitary State of Indonesia. But here we have to be critical, or differences between in senior high school and in this uh, college. We try to analyze, is Indonesia still unitary state or monarchy? So here, once again, Indonesia said that have the form of unitary state. But you have to know, in practice, the form of unitary state cannot be carried out as whole because elements of federalism appears its implementation. I mean, like, uh, um, for the form of the state itself, we try to know about the unitary and also the federalism. But in Indonesia, yeah, we recognize that we are unitary. But then the practice, or in the fact, is that uh, several elements of federalism appears in the implementation of unitary state. As an illustration, there are three main characteristics of federalism. The first one, there is a division of authority between central state and also the state. Central state takes care of fiscal and monetary matters. State justice or law, defense and security, religion, international cooperation, beside that is taken care of by the state. Or if we call it in Indonesia, we know about the region. In Indonesia, we know about the central government and also the local government. So the central state and state, if we try to illustrate in Indonesia, It means that local government or region and central government as the state. So you know that several authority is give to the region, right? So several division that still in the central state or in the central government is about fiscal and monetary matters, state justice and law, defense and security, religion, international cooperation. Besides that, that's cared by the local government or region, as we can call it decentralization. And then we discuss it about the central government and also the decentralization later. Second one, the legislative system in federal state use the bicameral system or two rooms. One room for representative of political parties and one room for the representative of region or section. Yeah, in unitary state or in Indonesia, we also have the bicameral system. One room as the representative of political parties, we call it a representative, the representative of society, DPR, and also one room for representative of region, or we can call it DPD, Dewan Perwakilan Daerah. The third one, each state has the power to make its own laws. I mean, like each region or each local government has the power to make its own laws. For example, if in the state or in the central government they have the regulation or undang-undang, we have in the local government mayor regulation. That's different, right? And then yeah, three illustration or three characteristic in federalism is is implement in unitary state in Indonesia. We still have the division of authority, which is local and central government. We have bicameral system, and also we still have the state or the region power to make laws. Even the laws, the level of laws is different, but that's the practice or that's the implementation. Okay, for the next one, the characteristic of federal state are, yeah, we try to also try to uh, continue the Indonesian's case here. The characteristic of federal state are also implemented in Indonesia. The evidence is the first. Regarding the division of authority in Indonesia with the existence of regional or local government autonomy, the central government and regional government or local government each have their own authority, such as regulated in government regulation, number, and authority that belong to the central government or central state in the federal state. This can happen because the concept of regional autonomy adopts the principle of federalism. So, but the differences between the federalism and also the federalism in Indonesia is that the power of the state or the power of the central state is still higher than local government. But in the real federalism, the central government is lower than the regional or the state in in a country. I mean, like, because in federalism we know that they have central state and also state. State means negara bagian, and central state is the whole of the country. So in the federalism, once again, the central government or the central state have no more power than state. But in Indonesia, central government or central state still have the higher authority or higher power than the local government. But I think uh, the the characteristic of the regarding the division of authority is still stay is it's still same with with the federalism. And then the second one, the legislative system in Indonesia also adopt the principle of federalism because there are representative of political parties and also representative of regional or provinces. As I mentioned before, we have DPR and also we have DPD. It's just that in Indonesia there is an MPR, so it is often called the legislative system in Indonesia using bicameral plus. So it means that if in bicameral system they only have representative of political parties and representative of regions. But in Indonesia, why we using bicameral plus? Because we still have MPR, Majelis Perwakilan Rakyat. That's the differences. And then the third one, also in Indonesia, not all provinces have their own laws. Only Aceh, Jakarta, Yogyakarta, Papua have their own laws. But this condition almost resemble the situation in a federal state. Why? Why Aceh, Jakarta, Jogja, Papua have their own laws? Because they have the spatial region. I mean, like, why Aceh called the spatial province Jakarta because of the spatial or the capital city. Yogyakarta, we have the kingdom, and then Papua. Papua is uh, the location or the province that still have the problems with ethnies and then with the uh, race and so on and so forth. So that's why only only 4 provinces that have their own laws. But then based on this condition, many political experts say that Indonesia does not purely carry out the form of a unitary state, but also implements the principles of federal state. Even the label given in Indonesia is pseudo-federalism or shadow federalism. Yeah, uh, as the PPT one, I share to you that what is the characteristic of the pseudo federalism. You can see it if there is several evidence. You can give the critical thinking or give the opinion for that kind of problem. So the question is, in your opinion, should Indonesia return to run a pure unitary state, or should it be made federal? Or is it like now? Is it okay? Is it good for Indonesia have the have the form of state like unitary state, but but many scholars or many political parties say that Indonesia is a shadow federalism. So what about that? Do you agree, or do you have opinion? Yeah, Indonesia should back to pure unitary state because blah 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 blah, or yeah, Indonesia just be federalism because blah blah blah, or is it enough give Indonesia like now, I mean like a shadow federalism? So please give your opinion. Okay, so we come up with the government form as the conceptually Indonesia said to be running the republican or form of government. Yeah, government form. I mean, like, I'm so sorry, make you confused. The first is the form of the state. We call it, we know about two form. The first is federalism and also the unitary. But for the government form, we know about the monarchy and also the republic. So here we try to discuss about the government form as in your visual, as Indonesia said that to be running the republican form of government. In simple term, the definition of the republic is a government based on people's sovereignty and laws. So, what do you think, and how about the practice? Has Indonesia deserved the title of republic? If you see, or if you looking for this situation now, so please give your opinion about that. Okay, next one. Indonesia said to be running a presidential system. I mean, like, yeah, I already mentioned, or I already discussed it in the first PPT, that even we try to, or even we um, using the presidential system, we still have many problems, right? As I mentioned before. And here, the presidential characters: first, president has the higher power. Do you think that president now has the higher power? Second, president as head of the state and head of the government. Yeah, I think this not not to be debate, because in Indonesia, president as a head of the state and also head of the government. Third one, the president may not be intervened by the legislature. Do you think so? The fourth one, if a pure presidential run is successful, then the cabinet form should become a Zaken cabinet or professional cabinet. It means that the cabinet filled by professional ministers according to their fields of expertise, not a minister who was entrusted by a political party. So I mean that, for example, me, as the expert in the political science, for example, as the expert in a field on urban planning, for example. So uh, the government should choose me because my expertise, not because the government just know me and then we have the good cooperation. So government or president just choose me, even I'm not expert in that position. So this can happen if the president is not intervened by political parties when composing the cabinet. So, yeah, as I mentioned before, for example, because the president is come from political party and they have coalition, and then president have to divide. I mean, like cheese, cake, right? Cake, and then if one people try to give power or try to give the support for the president or to the people, they should also give the cake, even only a piece of cake, to the people that already support. So it means that why um, Indonesia still have many problem with the with the presidential system, because we still have many intervention from the political party, especially for the president. So what do you think about Indonesia? I already mentioned more about the problem of Indonesia. I think you can try to make the statement. What about Indonesia? Is the Indonesia use the pure presidential system, or is Indonesia is in middle of, you know, um, we want to apply the presidential system, but in the fact or in the practice we cannot, and why? So that's the big question, and you have to give the opinion about the Indonesian government system. All right, so okay, that's all my presentation today. And then remember, I have two PPT. The first, I try to explain generally, I mean like what is the government, what is the state, and what is the system, like generally. And then the second part for, or the second PPT, I try to be specific in Indonesia case. As I mentioned, like we already talking about Plato, we're talking about the definition of the scholars, and then in the second slide or the second PPT, I try to give explanation more detail in Indonesia case. And hopefully for the question that I give to you, you can think about that and you can give your opinion. And then for the next meeting, we can discuss it. We can try to give a critical thinking, give the opinion, what should Indonesia run for the system, for example, or what should Indonesia have for the state form, and so forth. So feel free to discuss, because this is the academic atmosphere, I mean like academic environment. So please don't think that I will give the wrong opinion, or I will give the wrong suggestion because I don't know blah blah blah. So please don't think too much like that. So because once again we are in the academic environment, so I hope that you can give the best uh, in this lecture, and then give the best your opinion based on your thinking, based on your reading, because we also have the several readings materials that you can use to give the explanation more academically. So thank you so much for your attention. Hopefully you can understand, and then hopefully this give the beneficial for you. Good luck. See you next time. Thank you.